Have you ever felt like there's someone inside you that you don't fully understand? A hidden self lurking just below the surface? A voice that whispers in moments of anger, jealousy, or fear. A darker side you don't want to admit exists, yet it subtly influences every part of your life. This hidden aspect isn't imaginary. It isn't a defect. It isn't something you can simply erase with positive thinking. According to Carl Jung, it's your shadow, a powerful, hidden dimension of your personality that holds everything you've rejected, repressed, or denied about yourself. But Jung didn't see the shadow as something evil. He saw it as something profoundly important, an essential key to becoming whole, authentic, and truly self-aware. The question is, are you facing your dark side or running from it? Carl Jung introduced the shadow as the part of our psyche containing all the traits, emotions, and impulses we consciously hide from ourselves and others. Imagine your mind as a house. Your conscious self lives openly upstairs, bright, tidy, and presentable. Your shadow resides in the basement, dark, cluttered, full of things you've hidden away or forgotten. Your shadow includes things society or your family considered unacceptable: anger, envy, shame, fear, insecurity. It holds traumatic memories you'd rather forget. It holds the parts of you that didn't fit neatly into your ideal self-image, the self you show the world. But here's the crucial point. The shadow isn't just negative. It also holds positive aspects you've disowned: confidence, creativity, boldness, and emotional depth, qualities you've learned to suppress to fit in or feel safe. Carl Jung made it clear, your shadow is not your enemy. It's your greatest teacher. Have you ever met someone who outwardly appears gentle, kind, and friendly, but unexpectedly explodes in anger when triggered? That's the shadow breaking through. Or perhaps someone who prides themselves on morality and control, yet privately struggles with compulsive behaviors, secret addictions, or emotional outbursts. Again, that's the shadow demanding attention. We all have shadows, parts of ourselves we'd rather not acknowledge. These hidden aspects influence our behavior constantly, often without us even noticing. Think about yourself honestly. Do you repeatedly experience anger or jealousy in certain situations, yet deny those emotions openly? Do you habitually sabotage relationships or career opportunities without understanding why? Do you judge others harshly for behaviors you secretly engage in yourself? These are subtle yet powerful signs your shadow is silently steering your life. Carl Jung never demonized the shadow. He taught that facing it isn't just beneficial, it's absolutely essential. Your shadow isn't inherently dark or evil, it's simply unconscious. It demands your recognition. Ignored or denied, it can manifest destructively. But consciously acknowledged and integrated, it becomes a source of profound wisdom, creativity, and authenticity. The shadow holds your emotional power, creativity, and strength, qualities suppressed for being inconvenient or inappropriate. By reclaiming these traits consciously, you become whole. You stop living half a life, dominated by unconscious impulses. You finally step into genuine authenticity and deep emotional freedom. But what happens if you ignore your shadow? Jung famously warned, until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life, and you will call it fate. Ignored, your shadow doesn't disappear, it grows stronger. Repressed emotions, memories, and desires build pressure, erupting unexpectedly through self-sabotage, emotional outbursts, or unhealthy relationships. You think you're in control, but unconsciously, your shadow drives your decisions. You repeat painful patterns, sabotage happiness, and experience emotional chaos because your shadow is demanding attention and integration. The longer you avoid facing your shadow, the greater its power becomes, subtly controlling your life without you even realizing it. Facing your shadow isn't easy. It requires courage, vulnerability, and radical honesty. It demands you confront uncomfortable truths, painful memories, suppressed emotions. Yet Jung insisted this bravery was crucial for personal growth and psychological freedom. When you confront your shadow, powerful transformations happen. You reclaim lost creativity and emotional strength. You experience deeper, authentic relationships. You break destructive cycles of self-sabotage. You gain profound self-awareness and inner clarity. Carl Jung called this journey individuation, becoming your truest, fullest self by integrating the shadow consciously. So, here's your first step toward facing your shadow. Be honest. Stop pretending parts of you don't exist. Start noticing when your shadow surfaces in anger, judgment, jealousy, or anxiety. Ask yourself openly, what hidden part of me is demanding to be seen here? Your shadow isn't the enemy. It's your greatest ally on the journey toward authenticity and personal freedom. But what exactly happens when you consciously confront your shadow? How can you integrate it practically into your life, transforming hidden darkness into profound personal growth? That's exactly where we're headed next, because facing your shadow isn't merely theory. It's your path to genuine, lasting transformation. Carl Jung didn't just describe the shadow. He offered clear insights and practical methods to recognize, confront, and integrate it consciously into your life. But how exactly do you do that? How do you practically confront something hidden, unconscious, and, if we're being honest, deeply unsettling? According to Jung, it begins with radical self-awareness. The first step toward shadow integration is recognizing its presence in your daily interactions and experiences. Your shadow speaks constantly, but subtly. It hides behind your judgments, frustrations, resentments, compulsions, and insecurities. When someone deeply irritates you, what qualities or behaviors trigger that reaction? When you harshly judge others, could you secretly envy or fear what they represent? When you repeatedly sabotage opportunities, what hidden fears or emotions are driving that self-destruction? Jung emphasized clearly, everything that irritates us about others can lead us to an understanding of ourselves. When you begin observing these patterns honestly, without shame or defensiveness, your shadow becomes visible, manageable, and transformable. To truly face your shadow, you must embrace radical self-honesty, willingly confronting uncomfortable truths about yourself without judgment. This process demands courage. It means admitting aspects of yourself you've spent a lifetime avoiding or denying. It means acknowledging openly your hidden fears and insecurities, the jealousy, resentment, or anger you secretly carry, the mistakes and regrets you've buried in shame. Yet Jung believed deeply in this fearless honesty as essential for genuine emotional freedom. Without it, the shadow remains powerful, hidden, and destructive. With it, your shadow becomes visible, integrable, and transformative. One of the clearest ways Jung taught us to identify the shadow is through understanding projection, when we unconsciously attribute our own hidden qualities onto other people. Projection happens when you see someone as overly selfish, arrogant, or manipulative, but fail to recognize these very traits in yourself. This isn't conscious hypocrisy, it's unconscious denial. Your shadow, hidden from conscious awareness, manifests externally through harsh judgments or emotional reactions toward others. To face your shadow practically, notice your strongest emotional reactions to other people. Ask yourself honestly, could these behaviors or traits exist even slightly within me? Reflect compassionately without judgment. By retrieving your projections, owning these hidden qualities within yourself, you integrate aspects of your shadow directly, weakening their unconscious power dramatically. Jung developed the powerful technique of active imagination to directly communicate with unconscious aspects of the psyche, including your shadow. Here's how to practice active imagination practically. Find quiet space, close your eyes, and relax deeply. Bring forward a clear image of your shadow self, perhaps as a symbolic figure, animal, or even a version of you expressing hidden emotions or impulses. Engage this figure in an open dialogue. Ask questions like, oh, why are you angry? Oh, what do you fear? Oh, what hidden pain do you carry? Listen compassionately, allowing spontaneous responses and insights to emerge naturally. Journal your experience afterward, reflecting honestly on what emerged. Active imagination provides safe, direct dialogue with your shadow, fostering profound self-awareness, emotional insight, and deep inner healing. Creativity was central to Jung's approach to shadow work. He encouraged symbolic expression, painting, drawing, writing, poetry, as powerful pathways to shadow integration. Engaging creativity intentionally allows your shadow to express itself symbolically, safely, and constructively. Draw or paint spontaneously, allowing hidden emotions and images to emerge freely. Write honestly, without censoring yourself, exploring your deepest fears, resentments, or desires openly. Create rituals or symbolic acts that allow your shadow to speak symbolically. Creative expression gives your shadow safe space, integrating hidden parts of yourself consciously, reducing destructive, unconscious influence dramatically. Mindfulness practice was another tool Jung valued highly for conscious shadow integration. Regular meditation or mindful awareness helps you recognize shadow impulses consciously, without judgment or fear. Observe hidden emotions compassionately rather than reacting impulsively or repressing further. Allow emotional triggers to pass through you safely, reducing unconscious control significantly. Over time, mindfulness practice profoundly weakens your shadow's destructive unconscious power, replacing it with conscious emotional awareness and healthier emotional regulation. Ultimately, Jung believed shadow integration isn't about eradicating or suppressing the shadow, but consciously reclaiming it as an essential part of yourself. When you consciously integrate your shadow, you reclaim previously hidden strengths like creativity, assertiveness, intuition, and emotional depth. Your relationships become deeper, more honest, and fulfilling, free from unconscious sabotage or projection. You experience profound inner peace, authenticity, and self-acceptance, no longer fighting yourself, but embracing yourself fully. Your shadow ceases being destructive and becomes a powerful ally, deepening your emotional wisdom, resilience, creativity, and authenticity. Here's a clear summary of practical shadow integration steps Jung would recommend. 1. Notice emotional triggers. Identify situations or people triggering strong emotions, judgments, or reactions. Reflect honestly. What hidden part of me is surfacing here? 2. Practice radical honesty. Admit hidden feelings and traits openly without shame. Journaling or trusted therapy can greatly support this process. 3. Engage active imagination. Regularly dialogue with symbolic images or figures representing your shadow. Allow spontaneous insights to emerge. 4. Creative expression. Regularly create, through writing, art, poetry, allowing your shadow safe, symbolic expression. 5. Mindfulness practice. Cultivate daily meditation or mindful awareness, consciously observing shadow impulses without reaction or repression. Facing your shadow consciously transforms your entire life, from relationships and emotional health to self-awareness and authenticity. You're no longer controlled by unconscious patterns. You embrace your emotional truths openly. You live fully, deeply, authentically. Yet Jung's journey doesn't end here. What happens next? How does your life change practically when you fully integrate your shadow, transforming darkness into powerful personal growth? That's exactly what we'll explore next, because embracing your shadow consciously isn't merely theoretical. It's profoundly transformative, practical, and life-changing. Carl Jung warned clearly about the serious consequences of ignoring or repressing your shadow self. Because the shadow doesn't simply vanish when suppressed, it finds other, subtler ways to emerge in your life, often destructively. What exactly happens if you refuse to acknowledge your shadow? What price do you pay for turning away from your hidden truths? Let's journey into the deeper consequences that arise when your shadow remains ignored. One of the most common outcomes Jung observed when ignoring your shadow is repeated self-sabotage. You may consciously desire healthy relationships, career success, or emotional fulfillment, yet repeatedly sabotage opportunities without understanding why. Hidden within your shadow lie unresolved fears, insecurities, or self-limiting beliefs quietly undermining your conscious goals. Your shadow whispers, "You're not good enough. You don't deserve happiness. They'll abandon you eventually." You unconsciously follow these beliefs, sabotaging your chances of happiness, success, or love. Jung described this clearly. Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life, and you will call it fate. Your shadow isn't fate, it's unconscious control, shaping your life invisibly when ignored. Ignored, your shadow creates significant relationship conflict. When you suppress certain emotions or traits, you unconsciously project them onto others, seeing hidden aspects of yourself reflected back negatively. You judge people harshly for behaviors secretly existing in you. You constantly criticize others, unaware you're projecting unresolved self-criticism onto them. You attract relationships mirroring your unconscious emotional wounds, abandonment fears, insecurity, emotional neglect, reinforcing destructive patterns repeatedly. Your shadow demands attention, manifesting externally as conflict, misunderstanding, and painful relationships until consciously integrated. Ignored shadows also fuel emotional instability, chronic anxiety, depression, emotional outbursts, often triggered without clear conscious understanding. Because your shadow holds suppressed emotions, ignoring it creates immense internal pressure. Unprocessed anger, sadness, jealousy, or fear leaks out unpredictably, causing emotional chaos. You may experience anxiety without knowing why, depression you can't explain, or sudden emotional outbursts that feel out of character. Yet these symptoms aren't random. They're clear signs your shadow demands conscious integration. Another significant consequence Jung identified from ignoring your shadow is addiction and unhealthy coping behaviors. Your shadow holds unresolved emotional pain or trauma. Ignored consciously, this pain seeks temporary relief unconsciously through addictive substances, compulsive behaviors, or numbing distractions. Substance abuse masks suppressed pain or emotional emptiness. Overeating or compulsive shopping numbs hidden sadness or anxiety. Compulsive work or achievement distracts from deep emotional insecurity or self-doubt. Until your shadow's emotional wounds are consciously addressed, addictive behaviors remain constant coping mechanisms, destructive yet compelling. Ignored shadows can also manifest physically, through chronic tension, unexplained illnesses, fatigue, headaches, or autoimmune conditions. Your body becomes a messenger, expressing physically what your conscious mind refuses to acknowledge emotionally. Carl Jung clearly understood the powerful connection between psyche and body. The body is the vessel of the unconscious. If emotional pain or trauma remains suppressed consciously, it manifests unconsciously through physical symptoms, urging awareness and integration. Finally, Jung emphasized the spiritual consequences of ignoring your shadow: existential emptiness, loss of meaning, profound disconnection. You feel unfulfilled, disconnected, or empty, not because something's wrong with you, but because you've lost touch with hidden emotional truths suppressed deeply into the shadow. Spiritual or existential emptiness signals clearly your psyche demands reconnection, integration, and profound emotional honesty. Ignored shadows create spiritual disconnection, loss of purpose, and deep existential despair. Ultimately, ignoring your shadow keeps you trapped in unconscious cycles, repeating painful patterns without understanding or conscious control. Your life feels out of control, chaotic, meaningless, not because it actually is, but because your hidden shadow is unconsciously directing your choices, behaviors, and reactions. Until your shadow is consciously integrated, you remain trapped in unconscious emotional cycles, repeating pain, sabotaging happiness, feeling lost or disconnected. Jung warned clearly that ignored shadows don't vanish. They grow stronger, demanding attention through increasingly painful emotional, relational, or physical manifestations. One does not become enlightened by imagining figures of light, but by making the darkness conscious. Until your shadow's emotional truths become conscious, it continues controlling your life destructively, invisibly sabotaging your relationships, emotional health, and spiritual fulfillment. Yet Jung didn't view these symptoms negatively. He saw them as powerful wake-up calls, urging conscious awareness and emotional healing. Your shadow isn't punishing you, it's guiding you toward integration, healing, and emotional truth. Ignored, your shadow manifests painfully, demanding attention through emotional suffering, conflict, or physical symptoms. But acknowledged consciously, your shadow becomes transformative, deepening your emotional insight, healing painful wounds, creating profound emotional clarity, authenticity, and spiritual connection. Ignoring your shadow carries deep emotional, relational, and spiritual consequences, but facing it consciously offers profound healing, emotional freedom, and authentic self-awareness. So now the crucial question arises clearly. Are you ready to stop ignoring your hidden truths, to confront your shadow consciously, transforming hidden darkness into profound personal growth? The choice is yours. Your shadow awaits your decision, urging honesty, integration, and emotional truth. But how exactly do you start this powerful inner journey? How do you safely and practically confront your shadow, healing these emotional consequences once and for all? That's exactly where we journey next, because consciously integrating your shadow isn't merely theoretical. It's life-changing, practical, and deeply transformative. Carl Jung didn't leave us simply aware of the shadow's power. He provided clear, practical methods to consciously integrate this hidden dimension into your life, transforming darkness into wisdom, fear into freedom, and emotional pain into profound healing. Integrating your shadow isn't theoretical. It's deeply practical, grounded, and life-changing. Here's exactly how to begin this powerful inner journey toward emotional truth and personal authenticity. Step 1. Cultivating daily self-awareness. Shadow integration begins with conscious, daily self-awareness. Regularly pause during your day to notice emotional triggers, strong reactions, irritation, jealousy, or anger. Reflect honestly, asking yourself clearly, "Oh, what hidden part of myself is this emotional reaction revealing? Oh, what repressed fear, desire, or emotion am I experiencing now?" Journaling helps greatly here. Track your reactions and reflections daily, uncovering unconscious emotional patterns clearly. Through daily, intentional self-awareness, your shadow becomes visible and understandable, consciously integrated into emotional truth, no longer unconsciously controlling your life. Step 2. Embracing emotional honesty and vulnerability. Shadow integration demands emotional honesty, openly admitting hidden feelings, fears, or insecurities without shame or judgment. This vulnerability isn't weakness, it's profound courage. Jung insisted clearly, people will do anything, no matter how absurd, to avoid facing their own souls. But emotional honesty allows hidden emotional pain or trauma safely expressed, weakening destructive unconscious influence dramatically. Talk openly with trusted friends, family, or therapists, allowing suppressed emotions to surface safely. Step 3. Using active imagination for shadow dialogue. Carl Jung's powerful practice of active imagination helps you directly communicate with unconscious shadow material practically. Find quiet, relaxed time. Close your eyes, visualizing your shadow clearly, perhaps as a figure, animal, or symbolic representation. Engage your shadow in direct dialogue, asking openly, "Oh, what hidden pain or fear do you carry? Oh, why are you angry or hurt? Oh, what deeper emotional need are you expressing?" Listen compassionately, allowing spontaneous emotional insights and responses naturally emerging. Active imagination transforms your unconscious shadow into conscious dialogue, fostering emotional integration, understanding, and healing powerfully. Step 4. Expressing your shadow symbolically and creatively. Creative expression, art, writing, dance, or poetry, offers powerful symbolic pathways for shadow integration. Draw or paint spontaneously, allowing hidden shadow material safely expressed symbolically. Write freely, journaling honestly, exploring suppressed emotions openly. Create rituals or symbolic acts honoring your emotional truth consciously. Symbolic creative expression integrates hidden shadow emotions safely and constructively, weakening unconscious destructive control powerfully. Step 5. Daily mindfulness and emotional presence. Daily mindfulness meditation or emotional awareness practice profoundly integrates your shadow practically. Cultivate daily mindfulness, observing emotional impulses consciously without reaction or repression. When strong emotions or shadow impulses arise, consciously breathe, observe, and compassionately allow emotional experiences naturally expressed. Replace destructive, unconscious emotional reactions with conscious, mindful presence. Mindfulness practice weakens unconscious shadow control significantly, integrating emotional truth consciously, safely, and profoundly. Step 6. Therapeutic guidance and emotional support. Therapeutic support greatly enhances safe, effective shadow integration practically. Seek professional therapists experienced in Jungian psychology or depth-oriented emotional healing. Therapists guide safely through emotional pain, suppressed trauma, and shadow integration practically, effectively supporting profound emotional healing, authenticity, and integration. Step 7. Reclaiming your shadow's hidden strengths. Remember clearly, your shadow doesn't hold only pain, it holds profound hidden strengths, creativity, emotional depth, resilience, intuition. Integrating your shadow consciously, reclaiming these suppressed strengths practically. Allow hidden creativity consciously expressed in art, writing, innovation. Embrace previously suppressed confidence, assertiveness, emotional authenticity openly in relationships and life choices. Recognize emotional resilience, transforming emotional wounds into profound wisdom, empathy, and inner strength practically. Your shadow becomes powerful emotional resource, not destructive unconscious force, transforming emotional truth consciously, positively, and profoundly. Step 8. Embracing Jung's vision of wholeness. Ultimately, Carl Jung envisioned emotional wholeness clearly, not perfection, but emotional authenticity, honesty, and integration practically. Shadow integration isn't about eradicating hidden emotions. It's consciously reclaiming your emotional truth fully, authentically, profoundly. You live honestly, embracing emotional vulnerability openly. You build deeply authentic relationships practically, no longer controlled by unconscious emotional patterns destructively. Your life transforms positively, from emotional chaos to profound emotional freedom practically. Integrating your shadow isn't always easy practically. It demands emotional courage, vulnerability, radical self-awareness. Yet it offers profound emotional freedom practically, transforming hidden emotional darkness into conscious emotional wisdom powerfully. Imagine clearly the emotional freedom practically. Relationships deepen profoundly, authentic, emotionally honest, supportive practically. Addictive emotional patterns weaken dramatically, replaced consciously by emotional clarity practically. Hidden emotional wounds heal safely, practically, authentically, transforming emotional pain profoundly into emotional wisdom, empathy practically. Your life transforms practically, from unconscious emotional control to conscious emotional freedom powerfully. Carl Jung's powerful shadow integration isn't theoretical. It's practical, profoundly transformative emotionally, relationally, spiritually. Your shadow awaits you clearly, not destructively but powerfully, as emotional guide, healer practically. The question arises clearly. Are you ready emotionally, truly ready, to embrace your emotional truth practically, consciously, authentically? Your emotional journey inward awaits powerfully. It's your emotional truth practically, profoundly, authentically. And your emotional transformation begins clearly, right here, practically, powerfully, consciously. Subscribe to the Awakened Compass and join our membership to unlock the full journey within.